Hello, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're journeying to a land where empires collide and secrets sleep beneath the waves. Crimea is more than a peninsula. It is a story carved in stone and water. From Greeks, Tatars, Ottomans, to modern powers. But what can this tangled history teach us about our future mindset? Let's find out. Our story begins over 2,500 years ago. Imagine Greek galleys slicing through the Black Sea, their sails catching the wind as they approached these shores. They weren't just sailors, they were pioneers, dreamers. They established cities like Chersonesus near modern-day Sevastopol. It wasn't just a trading post. It was a beacon of Hellenic culture, a democratic city-state thriving thousands of miles from Athens. The Greeks who settled here embraced the unknown. They adapted, built, and flourished. Their mindset was one of courage and opportunity. They saw not a barren coast, but a canvas for a new world. This teaches us our first lesson. Progress is born from the courage to venture beyond the familiar. As the centuries rolled on, new powers cast their eyes on this strategic prize. The Romans came, building roads and fortresses, integrating Crimea into their vast empire. They were masters of infrastructure and law, understanding that true control comes not just from military might, but from creating order and connectivity. Following the Romans, the Byzantine Empire held sway, turning Chersonesus into a major Christian center. It was here, tradition holds, that Prince Vladimir of Kievan Rus was baptized, a pivotal moment that would shape the spiritual destiny of Eastern Europe. The lesson here is about legacy. The Romans and Byzantines didn't just conquer, they assimilated and transformed. They understood that lasting influence is built on systems, beliefs, and infrastructure that outlive any single ruler. Then, from the east, came the thunder of hooves. The Golden Horde, successors to Genghis Khan, swept across the steppes. For over 2 centuries, they ruled Crimea. This was the birth of the Crimean Tatars, a people whose identity was forged in this crucible of cultures. They weren't just nomadic warriors. They built sophisticated cities, like their capital, Bakhchisarai, with its magnificent Khan's palace. Their rule demonstrates the power of resilience and adaptation. The Tatars created a unique and lasting culture by blending their own traditions with those of the people they encountered. They thrived by being flexible, forming alliances, and establishing a vibrant state that became a major power in the Black Sea region. This period shows us that strength isn't just about conquering, it's about building a sustainable and distinct identity that can withstand the test of time. By the 15th century, the pendulum of power swung again. The Ottoman Empire, a global superpower, made the Crimean Khanate a vassal state. For 300 years, Crimea was a vital part of the Ottoman world, a hub for trade, culture, and military power. The Genoese-Italian merchant sailors had already established fortified trading posts like Kaffa, now Feodosia, turning the peninsula into a crossroads of global commerce. Imagine the markets of Kaffa, filled with silks from the east, spices from India, and furs from the north. This era teaches a powerful lesson about the importance of networks. Crimea's prosperity was fueled by its connections. It was a bridge between civilizations, a place where different peoples met, traded, and exchanged ideas. In our modern interconnected world, this lesson is more relevant than ever. Our success, as individuals and as societies, often depends on the strength and diversity of our networks. Then came the rise of the Russian Empire. Catherine the Great, a ruler of immense ambition, saw Crimea as her pearl. In 1783, she annexed the peninsula, a move that fundamentally shifted the balance of power in the region. Russia's goal was access to a warm-water port, a strategic dream for centuries. Sevastopol was founded, becoming the formidable base for the Black Sea Fleet. The 19th century saw the Crimean War, a brutal conflict that pitted Russia against an alliance of the Ottoman Empire, Britain, France, and Sardinia. This war, famous for Florence Nightingale and the charge of the Light Brigade, was one of the first truly modern wars, with telegraphs and railways playing a crucial role. This chapter of Crimean history is a stark reminder of how strategic ambition and technological change can reshape the world. It teaches us that foresight and the willingness to invest in long-term strategic goals, while often costly, can define a nation's destiny for generations. The 20th century brought unprecedented turmoil. The Russian Revolution, 2 world wars, and the Soviet era left deep scars on Crimea. During World War II, the peninsula was the scene of horrific battles, with the heroic defense of Sevastopol becoming a symbol of Soviet resistance. In 1944, a terrible tragedy unfolded. The entire Crimean Tatar population was forcibly deported by the Soviet regime, accused of collaboration. Hundreds of thousands were exiled to Central Asia, a national trauma that still echoes today. Then, in 1954, in a move that seemed minor at the time, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev transferred Crimea from the Russian SFSR to the Ukrainian SF. This administrative decision would have massive, unforeseen consequences decades later. This period is a somber lesson in the consequences of ideology and power. It shows how political decisions, made by a few, can irrevocably alter the lives of millions and plant the seeds of future conflict. It reminds us that history is not just about grand strategies, but about the human cost of those decisions. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Crimea found itself part of an independent Ukraine. What followed were decades of complex, political, cultural, and demographic shifts. The return of the Crimean Tatars, the ongoing presence of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, and a population with deep historical ties to Russia created a delicate and often tense situation. This culminated in the events of 2014, when following a revolution in Ukraine, Russia annexed the peninsula. This move was celebrated by many in Crimea, but condemned internationally, leading to sanctions and a new era of geopolitical confrontation. This recent history is a powerful illustration of how identity, history, and national narratives shape the present. It shows that the past is never truly past. It's a living force that continues to influence our choices, our loyalties, and our sense of belonging. The complexities of modern Crimea challenge us to look beyond simple headlines and understand the deep historical currents that drive events. So, what can this long, tangled, and often tragic history of Crimea teach us about our own mindset for the future? First, the Greek pioneers teach us to embrace the unknown with courage. In a world of rapid change, we must be willing to step outside our comfort zones and see challenges as opportunities for growth and innovation. Second, the Romans and Byzantines show the power of building systems. Lasting success isn't just about short-term wins, it's about creating robust structures, whether in our careers, our communities, or our personal lives, that provide stability and foster long-term growth. Third, the Crimean Tatars exemplify resilience. They forged a unique and enduring identity in the face of immense pressure. This teaches us the importance of adapting and persevering, of holding on to our core values while being flexible enough to navigate a changing world. Fourth, the Genoese and Ottomans highlight the value of networks. Our connections to others, our ability to collaborate and exchange ideas, are our greatest assets. In the digital age, building diverse and meaningful networks is more critical than ever. Finally, the modern history of Crimea is a profound lesson in perspective. It forces us to recognize that history is complex and that there are often multiple, competing truths. It encourages empathy and a willingness to understand different viewpoints rather than rushing to judgment. This mindset of seeking to understand, rather than just to win an argument, is essential for navigating the complexities of our globalized future. The story of Crimea is a microcosm of human history itself, a cycle of creation, conflict, and reinvention. It's a land of breathtaking beauty and profound sorrow, a place where the echoes of ancient empires still whisper on the wind. By studying its past, we don't just learn about geopolitics. We learn about ourselves. We learn about courage, resilience, the power of connection, and the critical importance of perspective. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through time. If you found this exploration of history and mindset valuable, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. What part of Crimean history did you find most fascinating? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.